What in the Sam Hell did I just watch? You didn't think we were done, did you? Of course not. You thought we were done with Dark Castle? Oh, you pretty little thing. No, 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 dear. No. We're talking about Splice today, a 2009 Dark Castle film starring Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley, directed by Vincenzo Natali. And it is my pleasure to say I thought it was great. I thought it was great. I thought it was intensely twisted and fucked up, like really fucked up, but so fucked up that it was endearing. I like this movie. I really, really, really do. As you can guess, it's about some splice masters. I think they're called, like scientists. Uh, a couple who fuck with some DNA and give us some monster called Dren. Uh, I mean, oh my God, this movie is so twisted, dude. Okay, let's just dive into the analysis. I'm hoping that you had already seen the movie before you watched this video. This video is not going to convince you to watch it. Yeah, and I don't give a fuck if you do or not. I just hope that you had before you clicked on this video because holy fucking shit, I don't know who's more evil, Clive or Elsa in this film. I have no idea which one is worse, but there's a thousand ways. Well, it's not a thousand ways. I have to stop exaggerating. There are several ways to uh, parse through this, to read it, right? You can do it hyper literally. A film about scientific moral quandaries, ethical dilemmas of our future. But that's probably the most boring way to view it, obviously. We're talking about Dark Castle. Dark Castle makes a lot of statements about itself, about its own genre, and about what the genre is trying to express at the moment, in its moment. Dark Castle makes some of my favorite horror films. I'm alone in thinking that. Splice, like House on Haunted Hill, like Orphan, like Ghost Ship, incredibly maligned. People don't like this movie. I got curious and just looked over at Letterboxd for a second and saw some like unanimously negative reviews. Like everyone thinks they're so unique and so cool for like riffing on this movie. Like, bros, you guys are so inoffensive and so safe and so fucking ordinary. You're not cool. You're not interesting. You're not clever. You don't even have a taste that you can call your own. You guys are uniform as fuck. Splice is great. I'm not impressed that you want to just make fun of Guillermo del Toro, the executive producer, or something fucking bullshit, some stupid fuck letterbox. I'm really happy I don't go there anymore. The more time I spend around cinephiles, the less like movies. Fuck cinephiles. Fuck letterboxed. Fuck people who don't like Dark Castle Entertainments. Which isn't just, that's not just letterboxed people. We're talking about critics. We're talking about almost everybody. But Splice actually was one of the few Dark Castle horror films that critics were at least warmer to at the time. Just so weird, this so fucked up. You can see why people were kinder to it because the performances of Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley are fucking incredible. Incredible chemistry. I love them both to death. Adrian Brody fucking killing it. They play the characters Clive and Elsa, the ones who I'm talking about. Like, I don't know who is more evil and more fucked up. I want to say that Clive is more fucked up because he fucked this creature. I am getting ahead of myself. But Elsa tortured it, maimed it, fucking like she's twisted as fuck and she put her own DNA into it. So, but it's more poetic though because she's like torturing and maiming and deforming a part of herself, a deformity of herself, like hyper personified. But that goes into another way we can view it, right? Before we get into the truly fucked up ways, is that Elsa created Dren with like her own DNA and also DNA of other like fictive or real imagined or actual creatures. She made this monster, this abomination with her own DNA, and it's a hyper personification of a large deformity within her, but mostly it speaks to neglect or abuse trauma that she had felt from growing up in a farm. Like we see her room within the farm, and she says it's just as it was left by her mother. It looks positively hellish. It looks terrible. It looks scary. Maybe the most nightmarish thing of the room is imagining Elsa as a child having to basically live in a closet attic. I really, really loved Elsa in this film. It brings me a lot of joy. I am so happy to talk about Sarah Polley again. I never thought I would be here again talking about how much I love Sarah Polley. She's an incredible actor. It's been a whole year since I talked about Go, the film that made her a patron saint of my heart and one of the most iconic women of the 90s just for the performance in Go. She's so fucking cool. Plays Rana in Go. She's amazing. And Sarah Polley, yeah, to me, she outpaces Adrian Brody, which should be a huge, huge fucking compliment. She made Elsa into a character that I could feel and that I could judge, that I could use as an analog to judge parts of myself. The parts of myself that want to cut away other parts of myself. The part of myself that is ashamed of its traumatic experiences and views like the traumatic experience of life, just like Elsa does, as extra limbs or as deformities, as monstrous parts of you that you wish that you could either remove surgically or you could nurture into something that transcends its original pain, because that's what Elsa tries to do at the beginning of the film, or throughout most of the film. She is the one who is trying to take care of Dren, almost give her the childhood that she never had, the care and love that she never felt. But I think it's more so to take that traumatic part of her soul and try to heal it by reliving um, those painful moments and doing it correctly or like doing it differently, transcending above the abuse of the past. But it just doesn't work because she gives in to the abuse of the past. In fact, Dren exploits the weaknesses within Elsa that are violent, that are demented and disturbed, that do need help, that haven't been treated. And the way to treat trauma isn't to um, extend passion to the darker parts of yourself. The way to transcend trauma is to fucking kill those parts of yourself by any means necessary. Did I mention that horror is problematic first and foremost, always? Meanwhile, Adrian Brody's character is trying to drown it in a tub and then fucking it like a month later. I don't even want to analyze that. I don't have to explain, like, Freud 101 to you guys. I think I've done that enough. Another way to view it, though, as I said, Dark Castle likes to say a lot of things about its own genre. Dark Castle often talks about what happens when films adopt other thematics from other genres or just the parts of the human experience, the human story that can be easily exploitable by horror, which trivializes those traumatic events and maybe even serves to fetishize them. So it's talking about like the responsibility of fusing, of splicing true morbid feelings en masse into horror films and like the responsibility that comes from such a wildly public experimental spectacle. And I think that Splice is commenting on that to a certain extent. For sure, that is definitely a component here, a reading here. The film is really, to me, fearless in the sense that it fucking goes for it, man. It fucking goes for it, and then it goes there again, and then it goes there again, and it never ends. It always outdoes itself. You think you've seen the craziest part of the film? You ain't seen fucking nothing yet. I would be stupid if I didn't mention the actor who portrayed Dren in the film. I mean, so I'm not stupid because I mentioned her, but I'm gonna sound like a fucking idiot because I will never be able to pronounce this name. Delphine Chanyo? Shanyu? Sorry, Delphine. If it means anything, I think you're incredible. I think you're absolutely phenomenal in this film. So, kind of an unsung icon in my heart. Sorry I can't say your name, though. And of course, this film is commenting on a lot of misconceptions, a lot of fears of young couples who aren't ready to have a baby. Or, I mean, there's a dynamic when one part of the relationship wants to have it while the other member does not want to have a baby. It's definitely saying a lot of things about abortion, about choice, about being forced to have a baby and then neglecting that baby and abusing that baby, or having a partner actively trying to kill that child and take the experience of parenthood away from you and how that can feel. It goes into a lot of hyper personal, hyper private, very traumatic and intense spaces. And I think it really does investigate these themes fearlessly. They have arguments like this wasn't supposed to go to the full trimester. What, do you want to kill it now? These are unmistakably lifted from uh, the disagreements of young couples, of domestica, of a fear a lot of young couples have. I mean, it even talks on like, horror's unending well. The well that never runs dry. What's the worst that can happen by having unprotected sex? Well, you can create a monster that he doesn't want and will pervert and will defile. Or maybe you haven't thought this all the way through yourself, and you have some violent tendencies. Maybe you'd be abusive, and maybe you'd be right to be. Did I mention that horror was problematic first and foremost? So this is a great movie. Don't listen to anyone who says this is a bad movie. It's a crazy fucking movie. Yeah, it's chaotic. It's fucking wild. I think I think it's really good. I think it's really good. I'm happy to say that this is really good. Um, it's it's upper mid tier Dark Castle for sure. It's really good stuff, dude. Ah, yeah, I'm almost afraid to investigate it more because, dude, it goes into some crazy places that have these like horrifically false like dichotomies or like the thesis of the film is manufactured in such a demented way that if you were to follow and engage with the thesis, you'd come out of it having to proclaim and say and determine some very, very troubling things from the film. Splice is something that analytically corners you and forces you to engage with it on its terms, and its terms are sociopathic. And I think that's what's so attractive about the film to me. It's really special. Special in a completely psychopathic way, but special nonetheless. I really, really fucking like it a lot. Anyways, thank you for watching me. I've been your cult boyfriend talking about Splice today. Um, what did you think of this movie? I hope you did like it, man, because it's really good. It's really good, and it deserves to be engaged with in ways that are genuine, like I just did. Have a good one, everyone.